Hi parents, how you doing? This is Steve Nielsen, your child's science teacher. I'm creating a short video here to go over with you some uh, kind of tips to help your child be successful in the classroom. So I have open here our Google Classroom, one of my virtual class, but all the other classes look pretty much the same in terms of the format and things. So where it says virtual class, you might see period 2, period 4, whatever class your child has. So this is called the stream. The stream is where things get posted every single day. So the first tip I would say is, make sure your child is checking the stream every single day. The most current items will be at the top of the stream. So this is today's posting. They're finishing up their characteristics and needs definition sheet and graphic organizer, and they're coming close to finishing their scientific inquiry experiment. There was a question of the day that was posted at 7:08 a.m. And now you can see the date this was posted, yesterday's work. So that's the first thing that they should do. The second thing I want to bring your attention to is, how does a child know when things are coming up, when things are due? And this is probably the biggest tip I can give you right here is this little box, right? Upcoming, due today is the question of the day, which was posted. There it is. The identifying the characteristics, and that's the rest of this assignment here that's due today. Due Thursday is a scientific inquiry. So the things I usually post and give as an announcement are also kind of reminding students about what's going on in here. And let's say that they had some other things due or weren't sure, wanted to look at it. There's a view all button here that they can look at. And the view all button will kind of give them all of their work that we've gone over throughout different time, and will allow them with due dates and things like that. Okay, so if you look here, it'll actually tell you when things were due. Okay, works in progress. These are things that, haven't been graded or haven't been returned or however it works. But in your child section, you'll see actual due dates here. It'll actually tell them whether they've turned it in and things like that. One of the most difficult things for teachers is that our windows always look a little different than what the student windows look like. So please keep that in mind. But that's a good window to check as well. Okay? So I want to just point out another tab here is the Classwork tab. And the Classwork tab is a good way if kids want to see how they're organized or how the class has been organized. And so what you're going to see here is that there's always different topics. So the current topic, characteristics of living things, is on top. And here are the 2 assignments that we've assigned in that category so far. If you look back at some of the older units, the metric system, there's a lot more assignments, okay, that we finished on that. There's a current event category, and then scientific method, lab safety, beginning of the year, and then question of the day. So these are the different topics in which we've assigned things. So if students ever wonder and say, I wonder what's due, they can always go check this page and see the due dates on things. They can also, if they're wanting to study for a test, let's say it was the metric system, it was time for a test, they can certainly go to this Classwork section and look over all of or some of their old work on the metric system to help them study. All the work is located there. So these are some of the most important things to check out on Google Classroom to stay organized and make sure work's coming in. I do want to point out, though, that if a student were to complete an assignment, such as the question of the day or this assignment here or this one Thursday, and they submitted it, these messages would disappear. Okay? So the caveat here is that a student can go ahead and submit work without actually doing anything on the assignment, right? So let's say that I post an assignment and they're supposed to fill out a bunch of stuff on the screen, write a bunch of information, write an essay. And let's say they're just looking at the blank form I gave them and they're like, you know what? I don't really want to do this assignment. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it in blank. They can do that. So it looks like on your end, if you check Google Classroom, hey, my child turned that assignment in. But in reality, all they did was turn in a blank document. So it's always very important to actually check the student's work, not just see what's due, what's coming up, but also, hey, let me see what your work looks like. And they can show you that. So, it's not cut and dry like, oh, it looks like they handed all their assignments in. So that's a really, really important thing to understand. Okay. I just want to point out a couple of things on School Tool. Okay. School Tool is the best way, and I want to look at this area here on this screen right here. School Tool is the best way for you to go ahead and check their grades and see how their progress is. I covered up the student names here so you can't see that, but these are the different assignments, okay? And what you're going to notice is that, and again, my screen looks different than your screen. Yours has assignment details. I try to give in a detail and a description of each assignment so the students and you will know what's going on. But this is my grade book and what my grade book looks like. And when a student misses an assignment, I will enter an MA, which stands for missing assignment. It counts as a 0, but it doesn't just show as a 0, right? If they get a 0, that means they did something really wrong in this class. For instance, they turned in a blank assignment and I caught them doing that. To me, that's being deceptive, right? That's being deceitful. If you're a student, you know if you're turning in a blank document or not. So if you see a 0, that's really dishonest, right? That's what that means to me. And MA just means that your child decided not to do the work. So look at the MAs. The MAs are very, very telling. One of the things that I'm not allowing as a regular kind of classroom thing is allowing students to hand in late work. And I'll show you in just a moment. I'll go back to classroom. It's just too difficult. If you look at all these different assignments here, if your child, if I will check these assignments and enter the grades once, but I don't get any indication that students are completing work, things like that. And for me to actually go back, even if I got a message for completing work, it's a lot of extra work for me to go back into all the different assignments for all the different classes, for all the different students all the time. So it's very, very important that students stay on top of the work. They get the work in on time. It's not that I don't want to give them credit. It's just too much of a management task for me to do that on a regular basis. Now, that being said, do things happen? Of course. If a student were to contact me, I occasionally, when we have time in class, will ask students, if you have a grade that you need to talk to me about, please let me know. And I will sometimes check work and update work that way. I prefer to do it in person. I have also helped some students that have contacted me through email or through messaging, but sometimes those messages get lost. So it's important that your child stays on top of contacting me and making sure that they're getting the credit that they think that they deserve. Okay? And the last thing I wanted to show you was how we calculate grades in the class. And so we have this little tab here. And just to show you that homework, labs, and quizzes, this is how they are weighted. Homeworks and classes are weighted at 25%, and tests and quizzes are 50%. So a lot of things goes into that. So what does that tell you? The first thing is that your tests and quizzes are the most important grades for the quarter. I also will use points. So for instance, even though tests and quizzes are worth 50% of your grade, quizzes often only carry 30 to 40 points for a quiz, whereas tests are 100 points. So tests are worth approximately 3 times more usually than quizzes, and they are half of your grade, both of them averaged together. Homework classwork, usually 10-point assignments. They're not weighted. They're not given a lot of points for each assignment. Occasionally, I do give a large one. So if you see a 100-point homework classwork assignment, very important that students get those done and don't miss those. Labs, they're usually heavy point assignments because our labs are pretty in-depth, right? So I encourage students to be thinking in their labs, to writing good lab reports, and so they're weighted quite heavily. And so we don't have a lot of those. So when we do have them due, it's important students get those done, and those count for 25%. So I think that covers most of the things that you can do to keep your child successful. Checking school tool. Just want to show you real quick what the Google Classroom. I exported some grades from Google Classroom, but notice that everything doesn't get a grade in Google Classroom. So you can see a lot of these assignments that we've had in Google Classroom don't have grades. So it's not a real accurate way to check the grade. It doesn't mean I don't check things. It just means I don't always enter the grades in Google Classroom because that's not our official record-keeping application. The record-keeping application is School Tool. Every parent has an ability to get an account there. Your children have access on School Tool. So I encourage you to check the grades for all of your classes, not just mine, through School Tool. All right. So I hope this answered a lot of your questions, and have a very nice day.